Hello, happy Thursday. I wanted to share a behind the scenes look at what I call my project management alignment. Wow, I've named it and now I can't remember what I call it. It's the aligned project management system for coaches. It's really key if you're going to be successful in not just coaching business but in life. You have to have systems and processes, and what I've done is over the years I have built up my own systems and processes to help me kind of cope with the fact that through my Asperger's and ADHD, my executive function doesn't really. So I have a problem with, prioritizing and really organizing tasks. So the execution part of that executive function is what a lot of people struggle with if they have ADHD diagnosis, and to some degree autism as well. I believe it's more on the ADHD side. Anyway, I digress. But because I have that struggle, that's why I have externalized a lot of my systems. And even if you don't have deal with any of those issues, you can still benefit from having an organized system just because there's a lot of things coming at us these days. And so if you're just trying to stay focused, that's what this is built around. Now I'm going to share what the full system looks like with everything filled out for me. I am in the process of creating the template, or not really creating the template, but in my template environment that gives you a clean version of this. I have to go through and do some linking and relinking of databases, technical stuff you probably don't care about, but I want to make sure that when I give you a clean copy, it's going to work for you. And so the idea is once you duplicate this into your own Notion environment, and you can do it on a free environment or a paid environment. I'm on a paid. Then you can make any changes or tweaks or whatever you want and fill it with your information, and nobody else can see that. It's yours to do with. The only reason why I had the issues is because I have access to both of my environments. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get in, and I will share the template. And if this is something that you think you'd be interested in, like, let me know. Give me some feedback in the comments, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching it later, just because, one size productivity systems don't really work for everybody. And the thing I like about Notion is that you can kind of piece together and create your own. You can implement whatever you're comfortable in it. This is just my version of it. You can take these ideas and create your own template if you want. There's a ton of YouTube channels on how to do that, including several different templates out there. This will probably wind up on the actual official Notion template store once it's there. So there we go. Okay, so I am going to actually switch that up so you can kind of see a little bit more. Okay, so everything starts with alignment, and that's where a lot of, project management systems fall down. It's okay, you put your projects in, you put your tasks in, it's supposed to keep you on goal, but if you're not aligning those things to your bigger picture, like, that's the step that a lot of people just don't even bother with, or they skip. So earlier or last week, if you're on my email list, which I think most of you should be, I sent out my annual review and reset template. So answering these questions will set you up for kind of populating this system once you get it. And if you're already part of Tech and Marketing Made Easy for Coaches, you're going to get this. This is included in your membership, so there's not an extra cost for this. If you're interested in joining, I do still have beta spots available, and I'll include a link to where you can join in the comments with this, if you're in the free group, because I am streaming this to both. And then this will be a resource that'll be in both regardless, if you're a member or not, just because I think it's really important to do the deep work. And even if you're answering this like one question a day to get through it, please do that, because it's so worth it. even as you kind of pivot from like, okay, here's where I am versus where I want to be. It's just going to get better and more refined over time. And this system, this is phase one of this system. So it's all the moving pieces. The next one will be um, the reviews and things to keep it on the rails. But because so much of that review system is populated by everything that's built here, which makes that really process super fast, by the way. That's why we're starting with this. If you haven't seen, I don't think I've actually released the personal HQ because both of these are, personal headquarters stuff, which is where all of my life stuff tends to live. And so these two are also included in it. So you'll get, and just to give you a background. So when I talk about foundations, everything you see in mine is not necessarily going to be part of it because like the library and all that, that's another layer. But with this personal foundations work area, you get a way to create a personal mission and North Star statement. There's different prompts and things to kind of get you through there. Just because it's really easy to say, hey, go do this thing. And then it's like, you sit down and you try to do it and you can't, or you feel stuck. And so this way you can set not just the personal vision, because your business in coaching practice should support and complement your personal life. That's why I start with personal, just because, these are the things that you have to really manage. And so you've got personal foundations, and then you've also got, business foundations are part of that. If you're, again, part of the membership, I have a whole workshop just on this business foundations, but each of these will pull into other areas. That's what it means if there's a red box around it, is it shows up elsewhere in the system. So let's return back to our main dashboard, because this is where you're going to be working out of. You don't need to worry about all of the underlying things that you see here and the different databases, because what you need to see is surfaced within these dashboards. I made it super simple, super easy. But the idea is with alignment is this will pull in from, your business foundations to where you're focused on, okay, what's my overarching mission theme, and what is it's just the 1 year business summary, because the idea is like, this is what we're working on in the now. And if I edit it here, it edits it or refines it in other places. So you get to kind of have that automatically happen throughout the year. And this really becomes a living, breathing system that helps keep you focused. Now, the other thing, so the way I organize, I'm going to actually skip this section for right now, and you'll see why here in a minute. This, in a lot of ways, kind of is where I touch base with the vision board. We as coaches, we're familiar with like, you should have goals and a vision board. Yes, I do that. One other way that I do that is I also make them in Canva. I have 3 monitors. I have a slightly different one on each monitor. So it's all there. And so I get that. Plus, this is really my high level pillars and areas. And as you can see, I have it color coded. You can take off the colors if you don't like them. As we go through, if you have any questions about how to customize this, once you wind up with it, let me know. All right, again, skipping this. So I'm going to go down to this section, because this is where the alignment really happens, because you have to align and then execute. And because I am, the strategic systems thinker that I am, taking the time to slow down enough to really consider alignment means that once I've got that piece of it, I revisit it on a quarterly basis, but I'm able to just focus on, okay, here's the tasks I need to do today, because I know they're tied to the projects that support the goals that I've got, as well as like the dreams and the themes that I'm wanting to focus on, and the pillars and areas. So let's start on the pillars and areas. This is, and this is just a different view of what you saw with the gallery above. And so each the way I define kind of like pillars is I've got, my personal things, I've got my home and family, and there's lifestyle in that too. Um, and then I've got work because I do still work as an information architect full time with CBN. And so that lets me keep that separate. And then, of course, business, the business pillars, which this system comes pre-populated with these same 4 business pillars. So that way you can just, if you just want to set it up for your business, you can do that and move on in life. If you want to add in the other pieces later, you can do that. I try to think of the way that it can be the easiest for you to just get started. And this has been populated over the last, so you started doing this in about January, last couple of months. So yours will eventually look like this. I've also done a lot of deep thinking, and this is a process I've repeated multiple years. So mine is pretty robust. And so the idea here is you choose different priorities. So this, anytime you see this, this is, hey, I'm making this a focus right now. So, and then the nice thing is I have it filtered down to where I'm only seeing the things that are the focus to me right now. And as you add in, you can add in different dreams or the different pieces here. So that way it kind of flows down system and everything stays connected. Once I get the template done, I'll have an example and I'll film going through and just setting up something for each. So that way you'll have kind of a how-to that's not already filled with my stuff with that. And so we'll go deeper because this is meant to be an overview, and then you can see just as another quick way to review. That's the flexibility that Notion provides, is you can look at things in different ways to find and identify the patterns. So pillars and areas are essentially the things that you have to focus on, or they are the big blocks. Because if for example, on a personal side, if I'm not focused on my health and wellness, I can't do any of the rest of it. For me, faith and personal growth is really important, as well as maintaining our mindset and identity as coaches is also very valuable. I think I'm going to go ahead and, at least with everything but the work ones, create the same system that I've done here for myself. It just won't be filled out with your information. Home and family includes things like, your finances, marriage. If you're not married, it could be, whatever love relationship you have. That could even be self-love within yourself as well. Family, for me, that includes, not just, kids, but it also includes my in-laws and my family, and all of that. And, home and lifestyle, this is where it's kind of like the wants, the needs, do you want to travel, etc., is how I think of that. And then, business, really it's foundations, marketing and sales. So essentially how you generate leads and close leads. And then operations is actually taking care of the systems of keeping your business going, as well as taking care of and delighting your customers and clients. And then the tech is just it's kind of my catch-all for any tech-related projects. And again, if you don't want that as a category and you want to lump it under operations, cool, you can actually delete this once you have it. So pillars, the things that you have to, that kind of keep the pillars that keep your life afloat. That's how I think about it. Some people want to call them life areas. That's why I use those terms. So the next section is I'm just going to go straight to the review thing, is dreams and themes. And the reason I have those kind of together is these are the things that are a little bit less, the fuzzier goals. We've talked about smarter goals and things like that. This is not smarter goals. That's where goals and milestones come in. These are the ones that are like, hey, something I need to pay attention to is audience building and making sure I'm building the right kind of audience as a coach. Well, that's not something that, "Hey, I've reached it." You will reach milestones along the way, but it's something that as long as you're running your business, it's kind of always going. So that's one way to think about themes. Then you've also got, dreams where it's like, I want to, be a leading expert in marketing measurement. Well, that's not really quantifiable. How do I know when I've gotten there? It depends. So that's where this layer fits in. So if you're familiar with like an OKR, objectives and key results model of goal setting, this would be the objective, the touchy-feely, fuzzy goal piece of it. The next part is the smarter goals that we are all very familiar with. As you can see, these are all just different ways of looking at specifically, these different goals that you've got. And you can see that there's somewhere where you can see kind of like here's some progress and milestones that you've achieved and how it's going. So you can see the numbers go up over time. But I'll filter this down so it's a little less bananas. And so this is the smarter goals. And the reason you'll notice here that it comes with a good, better, and best. This is if you're setting of, I want my email list to be 1,000 people by the end of the year. Okay, that would be kind of what I would set as the good. Better would be, okay, 1,500, and then best would be, 2,000 or whatever number you want to do. So the idea is not just setting realistic and achievable goals, which is what the good is, but then also thinking, okay, what's going to stretch me? And then what is really going to push me to my limit? So that's why I leverage that piece of it, because if you're just setting things that are achievable, you're going to be comfortable where you are. And we didn't get in business to be comfortable. Business is anything but being comfortable some days. And so from that, it's like, now that we have our goals, it's how are we supporting them? So the way you support that is through habits and projects that you set up. And again, each layer has its own focus, which helps you really keep that narrow, and the system's set up to do that. And so you can, if I just want to look at what my focus projects are right now for the business, you can set the different priorities. You've got your estimated start date. You can do an estimated end date, all sorts of things there. And then, there it is, habits. And then with habits, these are the things that are kind of ongoing. So they don't really have a definite end point until you're like, okay, well, this has definitely been built into some sort of routine or thing that I have. And so for that, and again, which focus habits do you have? And you can have habits that are drawn up into projects. So, a trip would be a project, but learning the language to support that trip would be a habit. So again, I like flexibility in the system, and so I designed it that way. And then each project has its own actions or tasks, and you can kind of see that there's different ways to do it. I even have it set up to where it will only show you actionable tasks, so you can actually set up different dependencies within the system. And I actually don't want, here's real time. You can actually hide the database titles. So all of these are being pulled in there. And so you can see if I pull up just the all tasks, that these aren't actionable, but I can go and see, okay, well, what is it blocked by to make sure that I'm staying on track? Which also helps with only surfacing the right things at the right time that you can actually take action on, instead of maintaining a massive to-do list of things. So that is the alignment board, and that's where I will probably start things off, because there's a couple different ways that you can do it. But the main is you can either start with getting your alignment and then working from kind of, okay, what projects am I working on right now? And can I tie those back to anything that aligns, or to anything that aligns with my goals or things that I've set? Because there's nothing magical about January 1st. You will hear me say that over, and I know and I will say it ad nauseum, because if you need a reset, like if you've already fallen short of the goals you've set, you can reclaim that. You just start here and start where you are, start with what you can, and you can get moving again. All right. So this is just kind of an alternate daily view if you wanted to. I tend to operate out of this daily dashboard. Again, so you can stay connected with where you're headed, your vision, your mission. That's why these are included in both dashboards. Again, all of these things are just slightly different ways of looking at the same systems. And then this also comes with a daily journal that's going to be the cornerstone of the review system that's going to come later. And so I have it set up to where you can have recurring templates. So this automatically gets generated for me every single day. I don't have to interact with it. It gets generated. I come in here and go, okay, I just open it up, type in hours, minutes, and I just get that from my Apple Health app. Because that's just baseline health. Is everybody should be getting enough sleep, track that, get that under, and then you can always, because you can always add things into this system later. And then basically habit 1, habit 2, habit 3. Processing inboxes is something that's part of like the getting things done system. It's also something that helps kind of clear the decks to make sure that anything that you have that needs to be entered in as a task or like copying in as a resource, you can do that. And then set yourself up for success the next day. Plan the next day as part of your daily shutdown routine. I have, and these are not actually connected to databases yet, but these are things where you can put in, daily gratitude, daily success, daily improvements for what you might want to do, as well as different daily memories. The energy is you score your daily energy on a 1 to 10 scale. Actually, I'm going about 7 today. And then the day score is just generally what would you, just again, 1 to 10, how would you score the day? Don't overthink it. The idea is that you can kind of build this over time to be able to look for eventually trends and patterns, so you can start to custom tailor your workflows and how you manage your work and life to reflect the rhythms and the trends that you see. But to do that, you have to have data. And I kind of skipped over this win the day. So the win of the day is essentially, today's a win for me if I record and release this system today. So recording is part of that. And so the win of the day is, okay, did you or did you not? And then you just check the box to get it to reflect. You can also check the boxes over here and do that as well. And then a place to log, your any income that comes in that day, because tracking money in is a good idea, as well as money out. But for right now, start there. This review is something that right now, until the review system's part of it, is, did you do your weekly review today? Did you do your monthly review, your quarterly review, your annual review, as well as planning for each of those same cycles? So today, if I was doing my monthly planning, I would hit monthly, just so that way I would be able to kind of see at a glance, when am I actually getting my planning done versus when I have it set to generate the task to do that. And then I just have an image that comes in here. You can replace this with something, or if you don't want to include an image, you can just delete it. I like a little visual here and there to kind of break stuff up. That's why I have it there. And again, I can kind of take a quick overview of my daily tasks, even though it's right there. And then just any any daily notes or things that I might want to do. So if you do journaling or something, that can be where you do your journaling prompts, or different things. Again, this is starting. If there's something that once you get this and you're like, hey, I want to include this in mine, how do I do that? I can show you how to do that. That's the beauty of this system, super flexible. So today, and then of course, it's the daily tasks and the things that we do that add up into the long-term results that get us toward our goal or to our goals. And so I've got some of the ongoing for work that I will be doing. And then you can kind of see like this is a personal area, and lifestyle because it has to do with traveling as well as I'm learning Japanese. I am in progress of getting the template actually in a form where I can share it with you. I'm actually probably not going to get my monthly planning done today, so I will move that to tomorrow. This probably won't get done, so I will move that to Saturday, or I think so. Yeah, Saturday. And you'll see you will see how it moves thing. It'll take it off the list. So just because it's later in the day, and because we do have a tendency to overestimate what we can get done in a day. And so the idea behind these due dates, and this is DO, when I plan to do it or at least interact with it the next time, that is what will help, kind of keep me on track. And so I do move things forward, just because sometimes that happens. And yeah, and you can see that there's different priorities here. So immediate is, hey, I have to get this done first thing. One thing that was immediate is I had to deal with some insurance stuff today. Had to. Scheduled would be if it's a meeting or something, or in the case I use this mainly for my son's archery of like, hey, he's scheduled with this shoot time, but so that way I know what time he has to be at the range for his competition or something like that. Quick is something that'll be just super 5 minutes. I use Duolingo, so my Japanese practice can take me less than 5 minutes. Do I usually spend more than that? Yes. But this just reinforces to my brain that I'm like, I can at least get this done enough in 5 minutes. One thing is, if I get nothing else done today, what is the one thing that has to be done? And you can have multiples of those, but only if they really closely relate to one another. Same thing with, top 3. You saw I cleared out a bunch of stuff that was all either top 3 or need to do, but a lot of that was all related to the same kind of, I'm trying to create this database of people that I know that I can reach out to. And so I had separated out those into different tasks of, okay, look on LinkedIn, look on Instagram, all of that different, but that way I could, break it up and get it done in pieces if I have to. Errands, not one I use too terribly often because blessedly my husband tends to handle a lot of those. Might do is, okay, I might do this, but I'm not gonna like sweat it all if it doesn't get there. Reminder would be things like, oh, hey, you need to go renew your license, or hey, you've got a trip planned. Remind yourself to book the hotel if you haven't done it already, or whatever. And then, so this is just if it's a recurring. So these tasks are built off of different templates that I have that they just automatically generate. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Yep, it just so you can see this one just generated one. I'm actually going to delete you because you're not supposed to be a test. But you can see that I can have it repeat every day. If it's a daily task, you can do it every week, every 2 weeks, every month. There is customization here. that you can do that I'll include more details on. You can also Google Notion recurring tasks, but I essentially have these that come up automatically. So I don't have to remember to create them, but I'm prompted at the right time to do it. And so I also have um, the focus views for, hey, this is what I'm working on today. I'm actually not working today, but because this does go over, that's why it's there. Versus today is get this out and get it done. And then I have a couple of other things. So that is a good way to do it. I do actually share this environment with my husband as well. So he has like some delegated tasks or things that he'll show up or that'll show up. Because I will set it up to where you can have an assignee. So if you already have a team, you can just invite them to your Notion environment once this is duplicated, and then have stuff that it automatically assigns to them. And actually, I am going to. So if I'm just adding a regular task, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to edit this template because this is another very powerful tool Notion has, is that if I'm using this as a default, if I create the task or my husband creates the task, whichever one of us creates it, it's going to automatically assign it to that person just as a way that's there. I haven't added assignee to a lot of things. But like for some of these, he handles a lot of that. And so when the task gets generated, it automatically assigns to him. He gets a notification, does the task, and then there's some other automation that like my piece of it or whatever is there gets done as well. So again, you can see it's a very robust system. I'm literally taking what I do and then just cleaning my stuff out of it and then setting you guys up with it for success. The last thing I'm going to kind of cover, because again, I'm not going to go deep into the databases because that's not what you're going to be interacting with. It's this. So within each one of these, because we're using these little check boxes, and in the alignment zone, there's some cleanup because that's something you have to, if you can't trust your system, you won't use it. So I've done my best to make this as easy to use as possible. So somewhere I have cleanup views. This is not the view. But where if there's no, it might be this one. And if it's not here, then it'll be part of the review system. But essentially it's, if there's no pillar assigned or no, I really want to set some projects. Oh, here we go. It's because I hid it from myself. Just because you don't always want to see it, because if you don't have anything there, you don't need to worry about it. So periodically use this cleanup maintenance. So like essentially because things show up based on if certain things are checked or not, or they're attached to certain things. Say, hey, if there's no pillar assigned, it shows up here. If there's no dream or theme assigned, it shows up here. If there's no goal assigned, it shows up here. You can't have a project that has no actions because then it's not work, then you're not doing anything. And so that's kind of the fail safe and cleanup there. I want to say there's another one. Nope. And then you've got, yeah, so that's the main where the cleanup is. So I'll probably pull that out. So I'm glad I did this. I'll pull that out and have it just be its own thing, just so that way you can have a very easy place of, if you're like, I know I created that and it should be showing up, why is it not? Come back, and this gives you a troubleshooting spot that's very easy to find. So with that said, the last dashboard set that you have are these personal home, and I refer to these as kind of your core pillars. So personal, home, business. If you do also work, work will be there. The system will come with a work one. You can just delete it if it's not a factor for you. Um, so this is everything that is to do for business. Again, I can look at today, tomorrow, next 4 days, anything I've got waiting or paused, anything I've currently got delegated to my husband, and whether or not he can do it. I think he is already working on some of these. And in fact, I know he is because he did that Tuesday. So I'll fix it. Just because I know he's been working on that. Here we go. All right. And then you can also see here's things that are actionable, but you haven't decided when to do them. And so this is just kind of your running to do for weekly planning. Notion does have a integrated calendar, which does sync with your Google Calendar, which is very nice. You don't have to use it with that. I'm still working it into my system a little bit more, but you can at least get a, here's my week overview for how overloaded my day may or may not be. Because again, these are all make a list, which is just to get good enough to get going. So I'm okay with that being more overloaded versus something that is more I shifted a dependent item. So it will shift items as well. But actually I'm going to do that. So since it moved something off of this list, you can kind of see back in tasks. Because your today will show you anything whose due date is on or before today. And it still shows these things, but it shifted this date to yesterday. So it'll still show up if you are moving stuff around that way. And then again, it's actionable. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to get done when this week? You can do that, as well as what can I get done that's not there. And then monthly planning, again, calendar view. Let me see if I can. There might be a setting. Or not. Or you can also open it in the calendar and it'll pop you directly to it so you can get a better overview of it for that. So the other, and then monthly, same thing. And then you've got these different areas of focus. So for your active projects, and this is why I'm going to go through and test, is make sure that like these active projects, this should only be showing me projects where that is checked. So, but this area I don't really go into as much. But this is like, okay, these are all the pillars that are associated with this. These are all of the different dreams and themes that I've got organized by it. So you can kind of see, again, it's different ways to view things that you're already doing. This resources section pulls from my library. So as I collect things around the internet, this will come in a later module, but you're able to link it to pillars, dreams and themes and all of that. So that way, when you're working on things, you have an easy way to reference or to see what you might have already collected. That helps. So that's part of like this becoming your second brain. So that is the tour of the Notion system and the template. What it will look like, and let me flip over to my templates so you can see here. Because as you can see, if I do this, this one might work is I just want to go through and test it because this seems like it's pulling correctly versus yeah. And so you can see that's going to have all of the dashboards. It has the personal view as well as the business side of it. So you're going to get all of that with the template whenever you get it. If you've already been through the Business Foundations workshop and you have that information, you can just copy and paste it in, and that will get you going. But yeah, if I go to actions and tasks, I need to make sure that these are actually being linked properly in these areas with different things. So that is what I will be double checking. And as soon as that's done, this will be available. If you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to, hit me up in the comments if you got questions or want to know. And again, I'll do individual kind of walkthrough of if you're starting out step by step, how to set it up fast enough to where like you're just get going. Because the idea is like, this is where you're operating out of. This is where you're creating kind of that headquarters for your business where everything's organized in one central location, even if you link off to a Google Doc or something like that, because you can do that. And actually, I'll show you. We'll just add this in to the template just because I want to remind me later. Thank you. And I'm going to do this, which depending on the level of Google Workspace you have, I don't know if this works on all levels, but if you take copy where it says edit up here in the URL and make it copy, I can do that. And it will embed it. Oh. Well, if your workspace is connected with like your Google Drive, it'll pull up just a little kind of snippet that'll say annual R&R kind of thing. But that is where I am. And so all I've got left to do, because I know some of you have said, hey, this is coming, and it's been coming for a bit. I'm just going to go through, double check my dashboards, and then I will record the how to set this up information and things, because I have to make sure that all of these various things that link to the other places are still functioning, since this was duplicated into a new environment, and it'll work whenever you do it. It's just that I've got multiple things, and because I've got access to both environments, it is doing different things. So that is that. All right, you guys have a great day, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you out.